Hey everyone, have a lot to cover here, so hoping I can get through this. And the first thing I want to talk about is someone mentioned their fonts. They said, I'm on Windows 10 and I can't get to my fonts. Well, I'm on Windows 10 and you can get to your fonts. I did go to FontSpace. Let me just put that in there, fontspace.com, and grabbed a few fonts for my project. And then I went into the control panel, and in the control panel you go to appearance and personalization and you'll find your fonts folder. So I just took those fonts that I had downloaded and I clicked and dragged them into my fonts folder, and then since I had already extracted them, I went ahead and dragged them down into my fonts folder here. So I have these particular fonts already associated in the project. So that, my friends, is a quick way to find your font folders. Control panel, personalization, fonts. So next up on the list is the canvas. So in the canvas, I'm going to go ahead and select one of those and bring my mouse into my scene view, hit the F. So I have my count action here ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and hit an equal and a space there. So in this particular inspector window, when you add your text for your UI, and what does UI stand for? You might need to know that. So what I did was I said, okay, I renamed it because I wanted to know it was a count, because later on in a script I'm going to have to associate this particular text in the script, so I want to know which one it is. So I named it count and the other one win. So I came down and I centered it within its text box place, and then for the horizontal and vertical overflow I selected overflow. And what that does is, if by chance when you're playing the game and things start adding up and you need more space, it will overflow and create that space. If you leave it at the selected wrap, you might lose some of your information. And then I changed the color here, and you know how to do that. Next on the list was I created an empty object, and I placed all my environmental stuff within that empty object. I also created an empty object for all my pickup items. So right now I only have one pickup right here, and if you look over in the inspector, you see I have named it, I have tagged it pick hyphenation up with a capital P and a capital U. This is important. In your script, in the programming language, it's going to call upon a tag, and the tag has to match. So if you call this pickup all one word, all lowercase, then you need to place that in your programming language in your script. So that's very important. Also tagged is the player. The player gets tagged as player. Alright, so we're that far now. So let me check my list. Next on the topic is we're going to create a skybox. So right now in my materials, I have created a material for the sky. And I also imported a beautiful package of skybox information right here, and they even created their own material, but I'm going to go ahead and create one here. So I'm going to go back into my materials, select the skybox material, and then it says, okay, well, what do you want to do with this? Well, I want to create a skybox, and I'm going to create a 6-sided skybox. So in the front they have all these little front, back, left, right, up, down. That's everywhere you look for the skybox. So I'm going to go back to my skybox, open up the textures. I still have the material selected, and this says back So I'm just going to come over here and put that one right there. This one says down, so I drag it right there. This one says front, so I'm going to drag that one up here. And this one says left. Sometimes these are backwards, you know, so you need to test it out, and I'll show you how to do that. And I'm just dragging these. They're telling me where to drag them: up, down, left, right, back, front. So what I do is I look at the skybox here and I can see, oh yes, that's good, that's good. So do I want to change anything here? Do I want to tint it? Well, my game has a lot of pink and green, so I'm actually going to bring some kind of a, you know, color in here to help, you know, bring it into my game. So I'm thinking I'm going to go with this, like right in here. So yeah, that's good enough for me. Don't want, and that's how you change the colors. You can change the rotation of your skybox. You can change the exposure of your skybox, give it a little more something or another, all that good stuff. So now that's taken care of. So I go back over to my main camera, and on the main camera it says clear flags skybox. So yes, I want a skybox. My background, no. So I'm looking at everything here, and it says that I want a skybox, but where is my skybox? Well, guess what? You have to go into the lighting area to find it. So you come into your Windows, and then Windows Rendering Lighting Setting, and the first thing that appears is skybox. So I select the little radio button, and I find my materials. If you don't want to look through everything, just say, what is it called? And I called it matte_sky. So I select that. I can double click on it. Make sure your auto generate is unchecked, because it causes a lot of issues as you're going. And then I can scroll down, and in the same area as I scroll down, I can find a fog. And I can say, how do I want this fog? Well, my sky is kind of pink and purple, so I think I'll make my fog green. And then I'm actually done with this, so I'm going to close this lighting window, and I can see in the main window here, I can see that skybox. But I'm going to go ahead and select play and see where it goes. So it's got my information right in the way, so I can't really see anything, but I can see the skybox. And can I see any fog? The fog is just a little bit, well, the fog will come as I run into it, because I selected, what was it, X potential squared. So you can mess around with your fog settings, but I'm going to go ahead and shoot down over. Oops, I'm going to be stuck in here, I think. Oh yay, I worked on my jump there. I just wanted to head over to the water, so oops. I wanted to show you the reflection of the water. Oh come on guy, oh come on. Well, he's not going to do it, so let me stop there. So the reflection of the water shows greatly when you add that sky box in there. So next on the list, so we got skybox, fog, third person. So third person, somebody said to me, hey, will you show that third person process again? So I'm going to select third person, hover over my scene, hit the F, I'm right there at third person. So my third person controller, my animator controller is there, and my avatar is the Ethan avatar. Well, I was over in Autodesk Character Generator, and I generated some characters. So I'm going to take tester 1 here, and I'm going to edit him so I can bring him into my Unity game. So tester 1 I can rename here, and I think I'm going to rename him Drunken Sailor, because I have bottles for pickups. So Drunken Sailor, it goes in centimeters and inches. In Unity we're in meters, so my Drunken Sailor is probably going to be either too small or too large, but we'll worry about that. We'll scale it later. I'm going to go with a medium on the resolution, and my textures, I'm going to keep all of my textures here. Facial expression later on, you may learn about bone rigging, facial bone rigging and masking, so, but we'll leave that. I'm going to leave this as quads and medium skeleton. Y is up in Unity. So, and then I'm going to check my Unity FBX, skeleton for Unity. And I'm going to generate. And while I'm in Autodesk Maya, Autodesk Maya is what creates 3D modeling and animation. While I'm in this character generator, it's going to tell me that something is happening with my tester 1 guy here. And then I can go under generated characters and see if he's been generated yet. So not quite yet. So we got this guy. So let's generate this character one more time. We're going to generate. It may take a few minutes to generate your character. A notification will appear when it's ready. So I'm going to have 2 characters because I did that twice. So I'm going to let that work on its own and come back into the game. So as you can see, my third person is rigged to player. I also, as stated, created these empty objects for my pickups. So I'm going to go to my pickup while we're waiting for this this generated character to happen. So I'm going to make a copy of my pickup item, and it's going to be right where the other copy is. And I use the shortcut key command of Control D. If you're on a Mac, that's Command D. So now, right here on this pickup, there are 2 bottles. So I can actually move one of the bottles to wherever the next pickup option is. One thing I have not done with my bottles is added my particle. So I generated, when I brought in the standard assets, I actually brought in some particle systems, so I can go about adding a particle to my pickup in a completely different way than what was in the textbook. So I come into my particles, and I'm going to go ahead and go into the prefabs. Oh, there's so many of them. I think I'll put a steam particle, and I'm going to put it on the very first bottle here. And let's see how it's looking. So actually the steam has found its way somewhere. So it's way over here somewhere, and it's not with my bottle. So I select my bottle, hover over F. Come on, baby, come on to the bottle. You can do it, you can do it. So here's my bottle, and I want my steam to come over here, so I am going to actually go to Game Object, Move to View. So now it's moved to my view, it's closer, so let's see how it looks when I go into run mode here. So I can see the steam coming up from my bottle, so I'll be able to see that as I'm moving through trying to find the bottles. Alright, so that's, if I were working on this, I'd make it a little different, but I'm just showing you a process. So of course I would work on that steam and make it much different than what it is right now. Alright, let's stop playing. Somebody else asked me about the camera options after you add your smooth follow to your camera. You must bring in what the target is, and that's usually the third person avatar. So you'll have to remember, if you change the avatar, you have to change it in the camera as well. But these particular areas of distance, height, and the damping between the rotation and height, mess around with those because they completely change how the character moves and how the camera follows the character. So mess around with those until you find something that you like. Alright, so let's see if our guy has generated yet, and I'm not quite seeing it quite yet. So we're just going to take another character so we can get a move on. So I have one here that was a Unity, and we call it Senior Lady, so I'm just going to download this. And it's going to download in a compressed file. So I say, where is this? And my downloads go into a download folder. You can see here's my fonts that I had, here's some images that I created and download, yada yada. So right now it's telling me that it's not quite ready to go. Now it is. So I'm going to extract this file. And once I extract this file, it's going to tell me that, hey, you have a Senior Lady Unity.fbx. So if I open up my project and I find my models, and I brought my terrains into my models just to take them off of the main folder, I'm going to actually create a new folder and call it my avatar. So, and then I'll open this particular folder, find my Senior Lady, and here's my FBX file. I'm just going to drag that baby in there, and we're going to see what happens once it's dragged in there. Come on. Alright, Senior Lady's dragged in. There are no materials for that, so I need to go back into that same folder and find all of my beautiful textures, because I'll have to create a material to put onto my avatar, so it has something in it. So the first thing I'm going to do is create that material. So create new material, and I always call mine all my materials are the same, so they're matte underscore lady. You can call it whatever. So now I have to add all the textures to this. So in the albedo, this is going to be the Senior Lady main color. Alright, so you can click it once, double click it will shut that. So in the normal map, I actually want to bring in my Senior Lady norm, because that'll give it that look, that feel of bumpiness. So once I did that, I got a little message that said this texture is not marked as normal map. What do you want to do? Well, I better fix it now. So Unity told me I better fix it now. Whenever you see that fix now, fix it. Alright, so if I want my character to be shiny, I would add the specular or occlusion map. So now I want to select my character in my models folder within the assets. So I haven't put my character on the scene yet, right? But I want to rig this character. I want to make sure this character is going to work. So within here, click rig. What is it? It's humanoid. Create it from here, apply. So this takes a couple of seconds to apply everything to this Unity model. And now it says, okay, we're kind of doing that behind the scenes. So what else do you want to do? I said, well, I need to configure this model. And once I select configure, the scene saver comes up, because what's going to happen, it's going to take me out of the scene into the air somewhere in cyberspace of Unity to rig this model. So yes, I'm going to save that scene, and here it is. It's showing me my rigged model. The dots look really good. There's question here on the shoulder. You can see the little dots around the main circle. That means could be questionable. No worries, it's green. Now if it was red, that would be an issue. So everything looks really good. So I'm going to come down to mapping, auto map, pose, enforce T pose, apply, and then it's going to apply these changes to my character, which I can tell you is going to be huge compared to the third person. And then I select done, and it takes me back to my scene. So my scene usually collapses over in the hierarchy, so I have to select the little arrow to open it back up. I've had people say, oh, everything's gone, I don't know how to get to it. Well, that's it right there. You just open it up there. So I'm going to select my third person, hover over the scene view, hit the F key, I'm back to that third person. Now I'm going to take my newly found rigged character and bring it down here by Ethan. And I can see that this character is huge as compared to Ethan, right? So I want to scale my model. This is WER, so if I selected my R key would be my scale option, and I'm just going to scale uniformly like this, and then hit my W key to get my move tool and move that back down and see how close we are now. And what I like about the Autodesk character generator is it comes in with spotlights on your character, and you can turn them on or off if you like, but it's not so dark wherever the character is. Sometimes that avatar is very dark in the shadows. So what I'm doing here is I'm moving this model as close to Ethan as I can to see, you know, are the shoulders aligning, is the character aligning, how does it look? So right now I have my third person controller and I have the Senior Lady Unity over here. Now I'm going to take Senior Lady and I'm going to drag Senior Lady on top of this third person controller, so Senior Lady is a part of that controller. Now I'm going to select the Run feature so we can see that the Senior Lady is attached but has no movement. Only Ethan has the movement. And let me explain why Ethan only has that movement. Because third person controller says, hey, we're associated with this Ethan avatar. So I hit that radio button and I say Senior Lady avatar, double click. Now let's see what happens after I've associated the Senior Lady avatar to this. So now Senior Lady is moving and Ethan is the one that's kind of in the T-pose here. So let's undo that and let's just remove Ethan. So I'm going to go anything that says Ethan on it, I'm going to select it and delete it. Open prefab, it's telling me that I need to delete the Ethan body this way. You used to be able to just remove it there, but it's telling me now that I have to open up Ethan here, and let me make sure I'm not deleting any of the Senior Lady, and I'm going to delete, and now I can hit the arrow to go back, and it looks like just the Senior Lady is there. Let's make sure everything's still working. Senior Lady is running around, but look, there's no camera. My camera's not following anymore. Remember what I told you? You're going to have to go back into the main camera, select the target for the smooth follow, which is the Senior Lady. And now I should have the camera following the Senior Lady. I'm going to have to play around with my height and my dampering because the Senior Lady was so different. And I'm probably going to have to play around with my jump feature as well. Senior Lady looks pretty doggone healthy for a Senior Lady. So that, my friends, is almost a half-hour lecture for you on a Sunday afternoon. And hopefully that will help some of you with your questions. Thank you so much.